Good morning, Sergeant. Good morning. Do you recognize that photograph? Yes. Are you the person that took that photograph? No. Do you recognize. Okay, do you recognize who that is in the photograph? Yes, that's Officer Engstrom. Are you one of his supervisors? I am one of his supervisors. Yes, we have multiple sergeants that work day shift. Were you his supervisor that day? Yes, I was there on that incident. Yes. Does that portray Officer Engstrom as he appeared that day regarding his uniform? Yes. Do you see any problems with his uniform in that photograph? No. He has a taser on his vest. He has a radio. He has a name tag. He has a badge. He has patches on both sleeves. No. How many letters of his name can you read from that name badge in that photograph? Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. I'll let it be asked. He spells his name Engst, Engstrom. I believe I can see Engst and part of the M, the shot. If I was standing normally, I could probably see his full name because I wouldn't be looking straight at his eyes as opposed to this shot. This shot appears like it's shot from an upward trajectory by Mr. Stull. Isn't the gentleman a tall man? I don't know where he had that. You mean Mr. Engstrom? Yes, he's probably 4 inches taller than me. What is his height? Maybe 6 feet. I'm about 6 feet. Okay, he is taller than me, you think? I think he's 6 feet. How tall would a person have to be to read all of the letters of his name then? I'm sure I could have read his name badge if I was standing there next to him. Are you finished reviewing that? Good job. Okay, 8:28. I am, yes, and ready to answer a couple more questions. They don't have to do with you looking at it. Yeah, that's fine. Indiscernible. Thank you. And Mr. Gibson, thank you for that. And that was Exhibit 5. Yes, all right. States Exhibit 5. Mr. Kelly, could you write a note of that for me with the photograph of Mr. Engstrom in his uniform? It's Exhibit 5 by Mr. Stoll. Do you train other officers? Even other, do you train as your role as a Portland Police Sergeant? Ever engage in training exercises? I've never been assigned to the training division. I've never been a training officer, but as a sergeant, we have supervisory oversight and we do, direct officers to do certain things, yes. But as far as officially training, no. Are you in your supervisory capacity? I don't want to say empowered, authorized. It's a part of your job as a supervisor to make sure that the people you're supervising follow the Portland Police Bureau policy. Yes, that's the responsibility of a supervisor and other officers for each other. Could you tell us the Portland Police policy regarding displaying of the issued McMahon, objection, Your Honor, relevance. It says by Mr. Stuff. Hey, Mr. Stull, you've got a new alias. Mr. Stuff.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
Mr. Stuff. You are the stuff. Okay. ID.
It's the court order. It's official. Okay. Official transcript.
Okay, objection, Your Honor, relevance by Mr. Stuff, ID badge on the outermost garment. The court, there is an objection based on relevance, and so Mr. Stull. Oh, the court, if you need to talk to me about its relevance, I'll have to ask the jury to stand aside. Mr. Stull, I would have to do that, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Stull, I'm sorry. Jury exits. Counsels confer. Okay, what is the relevance of this? The question of policy is about you. Oh, I'm even more amused. This is hilarious. Okay. Your Honor, I know from my identification, I know from my response from a sergeant at the Portland Police Bureau that it is, in fact, a uniform policy that the... But what's the relevance of the uniform policy here? Oh, he was supervising a gentleman that in the photograph is clearly out of uniform because they must display their name tag. It must be displayed. You can't display it if you're covering it up with a taser or anything like that. But it must be displayed. What's the relevance to the charges and defenses in this case? Credibility, Your Honor. That is not something that impeaches credibility. No, Your Honor. The gentleman, excuse me, Officer Engstrom is a 200...
Yeah.
He's a 240-pound man. How did you guess his weight? Was that just a guess or what? Okay, he is a 240-pound man who was wearing glasses, although he does. Yeah, we'll have to ask him. Although he doesn't need them to read as he did yesterday or whatever he testified. Don't hold me to that. But in his testimony, he said he didn't need the glasses to read. He wore the glasses. He has a hair-proof head. He's trained in defensive tactics. He recognized the legal mandate as a form that he knows the rules of use on force. He talked a little bit about how the Graham standard was superseded, and the entire time of this event at Portland City Council, Officer Engstrom was out of uniform because his name tag, which it is mandated that it be displayed so it could be read when citizens have an interaction with a law enforcement officer. For example, I'll cover my eyes because of my disability. I'll need to have to take a break from the fluorescent light. So this is the easiest way to say it, Your Honor. No disrespect to anybody. And you may interrupt me if you feel it appropriate. I'm not hiding from you. The requirement is that the name tag be displayed. That's a policy. I'm asking my legal advisor to identify that. If I hadn't had my thumb drive taken at the time of the arrest, I already have it on my thumb drive. I've done this, like I've said. I had the interaction with the Portland Police Bureau, confirming that as the policy, and they saw that as a training opportunity. And all I'm saying, Your Honor, is that the fellow that was testifying and the fellow in the videos and the fellow in the photograph are the same fellow, and he was out of uniform, and his supervisor allowed him to be out of uniform, and how this impacts me as a person who's trying to get an ambulance transportation and is not getting it, when instead I got what seemed to be, as a part of my training and experience, an individual who's hiding his name because he's a thug.
Where'd you go?
Okay. The Portland Police Bureau has a policy to display name tags. And I see officers that put pens in front of their name tags to keep that from being identified. They'll put their radio microphone over the name tag to keep it from being themselves from being identified. Okay, I'm grabbing my charger here. Hold on a second. I'm just plugging into my power source. Okay, let's see. They put their radio microphone of the name tag to keep it from being themselves from being identified. They'll put their taser over it. The most offensive to me, Your Honor, is the taser because it says two things. One, we have a practice at the City of Portland that brought the Department of Justice into town of overuse of tasers, the repeated cycles on the same person with tasers, and two people using a taser at that same time. And so for someone to, one, violate the uniform policy to cover up their name is one thing, but to do it with a taser is not only saying I'm able to do what I want no matter what the rules are. Part of what I want is to use the taser, and I'm going to get away with it because I have a shaved head. And if Barry Joe Stull has a beard I can grab, when I get to tussle with him, he's not going to win because look at me. I've been trained but with 20 years experience, and I can grab his beard, and he can't grab my head because it's slicked down. He can't poke my eyes because I'm wearing glasses. I'm sorry to interrupt, but talking about who's got a beard and who's bald is not helping me. It's helping me, says Mr. Stull, the court, at all. Mr. Stull, as the person trying to get the court, medical treatment and instead getting a gargantuan thug, I'm trying to understand covering up his name. I'm trying to understand what the significance of the argument is. You said it was credibility. It has to do with credibility. Officer Engstrom not following the exact specific clearly stated policy. I'm only getting frustrated because I can't figure out why Mr. Kelly can't find that. I found it in 30 seconds when I looked it up, Your Honor. It's a PDF. Well, document. But the point I'm trying to make without the value of the document is I know that the name tag must be displayed on the outermost garment, and that because you can't have the name tag and put your jacket over it, so your name tag is no longer displayed. Display means displayed. Oh, hold up. I'm reconnecting. You can't put a toy gun on your license plate so it's not displayed. It must be displayed. That's funny. A toy gun on your license plate. Okay. So it must be displayed. Have all our traffic laws. I'm just imagining like water guns covering your license plate.
Yeah.
It must be displayed.
Fuck you, cop. You can't read my license.
There's a hilarious video by a bluegrass band called Fuck You Cop that you gotta look up sometime. It's called Bird Cloud. Bird Cloud's got a cute little, it's a dance video, country music. It must be displayed. No offense to cops, but okay, it must be displayed. It's cute. It kind of is sexualizing the cops, actually, because they're just hitting on them, but it must be displayed. We all have our traffic laws. You must display. No, guess, fuck you, cop. They're just some drunk hillbilly bluegrass chicks that get pulled over with their pickup truck and turn it into a big dance video with the cops. It's cute. The cops get to dance, too. It's cute. You must display no white lights in the rear except for the backup lights. We have display. It's a word. And you can ask the witness if that's policy. He may agree with you, Your Honor. Is that a policy, Your Honor? If I can resolve this by having him say this, he said that he could read the name tag. So, Mr. Stull, I said I'm going to say I can, and the photographs say he can, and you can't get all the letters in the photograph. I'm ruling this irrelevant. I'm going to sustain the objection. I don't think it's impeachment, and I don't think it's proper impeachment, Your Honor, please. And therefore, I have ruled, and we're going to move on. It's 10 in the morning. I showed up here at 9. I said, as a person with a disability, I may need to take a break. So if I could just please we'll take a break, but you're 2 minutes. I'm going to take a 15-minute break because I've only asked for 2. Well, we started this, as far as the jury is concerned, we started this at like 20 minutes ago, so I understand, Your Honor. We'll take a 5-minute break. You're fighting with the length of, we'll take a 5-minute break, so you get the break trimmed down.
It took 20 minutes to talk about the photograph?
Yeah, basically. And then we'll be back. Break taken from 10:04 to 10:13. Your Honor, during the break, as we were walking off the record, Mr. West is sitting. This is Mr. McMahon informing on Mr. West is sitting in the gallery and making repeated comments to the effect of, "I think it was a lying Nazi thug." I wasn't sure if he was referring to me or Sergeant Axel. At this point, I've asked that he be excluded from the courtroom if he's going to make comments like that in the back. So he's sitting in the gallery. Wow. I would exclude him at this time, but other comments to any other participants, regardless of whether we're in session or out of session, particularly about to any witness, will not be allowed, and you will be excluded if you violate that rule. Unidentified speaker, I understand, Your Honor. Very well. We'll start. We'll bring the jury back.
I don't think she kicked him out.
I know, isn't that crazy? I'm really impressed with this.
I think it's error in the transcript because it says, I would exclude him at this time.
I would. It was like, I would exclude him, but I'm not going to, is what I'm reading. But any other comments? Maybe could be misunderstanding. It's interesting.
I don't know. Moving on. Bring the jury back.
Bring the jury back.
So here we go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Very well. You may proceed. By Mr. Stull. What did you have any role in what we call escort, moving a person who's in custody from outside of the council chambers? As I mentioned earlier, I escorted Mr. Davis, but from the council chambers down to a patrol car. Did you escort me at any point from the council chambers? I can't recall if I did. So who are you speaking to? This is weird.
Yeah, who cares? Let's move on. I gotta find him talking about me not needing medical attention.
Okay. Oh, neat. Interesting. Oh, my back. Oh, my back.
He's a paramedic.
Okay.
You know that?
Who, Engstrom? Please, no, tell me it's not Engstrom.
What?
Who's a paramedic? Oh, is that who you're talking to?
Yeah. I counted 2 with my head on Nick Fisher's nameplate.
You got it.
Did I ever tell you that?
You did something with Nick Fish's nameplate?
Yeah. I counted 2.
You counted?
Coup. C-O-U-P, coup. It's a French word, but it's an Indian thing. To touch somebody with your coup stick. In battle, it's more honorable to get close enough to touch somebody than it is to kill them from a distance, like shoot at them with a gun or something.
Oh, getting in someone's face. Oh my gosh. Puzzle.
Counting coup. You don't know that one? It's spelled C-U-B. What's Google say about it?
C-U-B?
P.
C-U-P?
Yes. C-O-U-P.
Okay, and then what about it? What about
counting? The first word is counting.
Okay.
And the second word is coup.
Okay, got it. Counting coup. Sorry. Let's see. Is a winning prestige Plains Indians of North America. Warriors won prestige by acts of bravery in the face of the enemy, which could be recorded in various ways and retold as stories. That's beautiful. I love it. Okay, let's look. Aha, counting coup. Or counting coup? Is it pronounced like French or not? Okay, warriors
Yeah,
won
yeah.
counting coup.
The P is silent.
Okay, escaping unharmed while counting coup was considered a higher honor than being wounded in the attempt. A warrior who won coup was permitted to wear an eagle feather in their hair. If he had been wounded, however, he was required to paint the feather red. After a battle or exploit, the people of a band would. Oh, that's neat that their feathers were like a code system. That's so cool. People of a band would stick together to recount their acts of bravery and count coup. Coups were recorded by putting notches in a coup stick. Indians of the Pacific Northwest would tie an eagle feather in their coup stick for each coup counted, but many nations did not do so. Among the Blackfoot Nation of the upper Missouri River Valley, coup could be recorded by the placement of coup bars on the sleeves and shoulders of special shirts that bore paintings of the warriors' exploits in battle. Many shirts of this sort have survived to the present, including some European museums. Let's see, prestigious escaping unharmed. Let's see, touching the first enemy to die in battle or touching the enemy's defensive works also counted as coup, as did in some nations simply riding up to an enemy, touching him with a short stick, and riding away unscathed. Counting coup could also involve stealing an enemy's weapons or horses tied up in his lodge camp. Wow. Risk of injury or death
Or
was
touching his nameplate with your head.
Okay, I get it. You were counting here. No, thank you for educating me as to your
You can see it in the video.
Methoden. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it right now.
I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah, I started to the other night. Wow.
What? You started looking at the video?
Rewatching the video because the thing is, so much of the background information and case citations you were telling me, I realized you were talking, and I'm irritated to this day that Mike Bluehair wants to code it as, oh, he's having an episode or whatever, he needs mental help, because I'm like, no, Barry's a genius. Everything he says makes perfect sense. You just have to have your citations. You just need your footnotes. So what I'm hoping to build in the blog is like the footnotes, so people can understand. But
Yeah.
Barry's a genius.
Wow, what the fuck? This is bad news for me. Huh. Alright. Where's the video?
Oh, Mike Bluehair publishes it. I think Barry. If you Google Barry Joe Stull, I'm gonna be like stealing his rankings.
I'm not on the internet.
Oh, okay. Should we listen to it? I could play it.
No, I have it. I have it. I'm gonna.
Have it. Oh my
I
god.
thought if I look up state versus Skull 2015. Oh wow, I have that. Wow. Price after this is
Yes, I'm afraid you took over 11 pages of their transcript with the Angstrom name badge. 8. I'm so totally amused. Okay. 837 to 826. 826 to 826 to 837. Angstrom name badge concealment issue.